back in we are playing field, and we are going to be starting things off between Vantage and Mindfreak. I'm T-Tom, and I've got Elfish Guy with me in case you weren't tuned in earlier, or you just forgot for some reason. Guys, you might need to eat some almonds for that.
Yeah, eat some almonds. Match paused. Has me a little bit concerned. Obviously, there was some issues with everyone getting into the server. That seems to have been sorted out, so now I guess just making sure we're all ready to go before we push that go live button. I'm not sure which admin is adminning tonight. However, I know that Wanda, who's typically the admin here in OS, is at the venue that at least one of these teams is playing at, so that may assist.
It shows up and tells him, all right. Which one of you guys
Start
don't know what an RJ45 is? Well, it's going to be Mindfreak starting things off with a couple of bits and bobs of utility, 2 smokes, a Molotov, and double flashes. The plan might be simple, a B-side hit, but is that what ends up happening over here?
Oh, we're about to find out. Super. Just going to have a little bit of a look. He's gone hunting for some info, and he's definitely got some info. More than what he bargained for. Headshot through from him.
Oh, no.
For him, even, from Gump. And Tux is going to be meeting a rather untimely end as a effective a trade, but end of the day, Mindfreak are going to try and barrel their way into this B bomb site, and that hasn't really quite worked out. Not the way that you'd like to have, given that they did get that opening pick. So, decent start in the end there for Vantage.
Yeah, especially for Swerzian, right? You're watching out for those 2 players out in middle who are playing the fast rotate. They clear out bridge very quickly, move back over through and through, and because Mindfreak's taking some time and actually breaking onto the bomb site despite the initial first kill that they're able to find, ends up being a very effective rotation. So Vantage take the pistol round. No bomb planted either, so the only investment you're going to see into this one from Mindfreak is a couple of deagles.
Yeah, nothing too surprising. Without that bomb plant, they don't really have the money to invest, so main aim of this round for Vantage is just to, at least ideally, take through all of the rifles. Obviously, you'd like to take everything through if you had the option, but as long as you keep all 3 rifles alive, I think that's where Vantage end up being happy enough. Mindfreak for their own right, really just setting up a fairly default kind of a start here. Looking to see if those deagles can maybe do some damage. Tux and Texter haven't been given that responsibility. So far, not having any success.
Money. And Gobi's having a good time. As is Swerzian. Now, look, if Swerzian is going to be allowed to continually get aggressive through mid, take these individual duels and whatnot, it's very early days, right? But there is a reason why he was our player to watch, and there is a reason why, you know, as many people have been chatting about him. Not everyone gets the vouch from Savage, one of the probably more mechanically skilled players that has come out of Australian Counter-Strike in recent years.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know necessarily what the rest of the community has to say about Swerzian, but at least there was a few positive things being said today, and he is delivering. But, you know, you can't really read too much into a pistol and then an anti-eco. Sure, it's a 6-0 start, but I don't want to get too far ahead of myself just yet.
Mindfreak though would like to make sure that he doesn't get too far ahead. Wondering what this round is going to look like, because you're looking over towards the buy. They've got a single flashbang purchased up by Gump, so you're really relying entirely on just taking straight up aim duels. CT side, on the other hand, are fully going to be decked out. Maybe the only thing lacking is a couple more kits, or maybe just the one. But Drox has got it, and he thinks that's a-okay. So let's see whether Mindfreak can actually rake onto a bomb site this time or not.
Moving a little bit quicker through the map this time. Vantage already taking pretty much full control of water.
Ooh.
Super untimely little bit of information coming in his direction in the form of a bullet in the back of his head from Tux, which has allowed Mindfreak to work their way over bridge into middle, and now starting to pressure in on cams, where Jinx is waiting, but only an MP9. That insend, it won't even slow Mindfreak down all that much. Tux wanted to go through. The rest of the team maybe didn't.
Oh, no.
And that might be the undoing for Mindfreak. 1-for-1 so far in that engagement, but given Mindfreak got the opening kill, they have got enough for those trades to come through nice and clean. And first gun round on the board
That's such a strange round from Vantage through and through, right? Like, initially you understand why the killer's given over, because Swerzians are playing out towards bridge, they're trying to play double canals push. Understandable, right? You just can't cover off that second player in canals. It's not possible. But after that, in middle, there's this fantastic incendiary into camera which segments off the first player that you're able to take down, and then there's actually a very good incendiary as well coming out from the players rotating, which funnels, which has players funneled into it via the grenade thrown into camera as well. And because they've got so much util damage, Vantage feel like they just want to push out the smoke and take these duels, but that's where they end up losing out to Mindfreak and their lack of utility on their end. So ends up being a bit of a, bit of a faulty call, but that's great news for Mindfreak. They're going to be able to get themselves on the board and have a much more comfortable buy in this round.
A lot of util being tossed into mid there from Mindfreak. Just trying again to sort of pressure Vantage away from that area of the map. There is a smoke up that Mindfreak are starting to push their way through. The flash was excellent from Tux over the top. Did catch Swerzian. But nice spam from Mingobi. Will at least bring one back. So 4v4 as mid still starts to get collapsed upon by Mindfreak. They are not giving up. Nor is Vantage by the looks of things, because Drox even has phased his way through that smoke. Ends up getting himself one. No more though, as Payne is stable and solid with the AK. And it looks like Mindfreak will get themselves another.
That's really good timing on the flashbang in middle from Tux coming through, right? They wait for the flash to be thrown out for the CTs just in case there's going to be any sort of, mid-take. But no, this round is still on. Super's back into the bomb site. He doesn't have the kit. He doesn't know where to find it as well. Remember, Drox fell far away. He had to take the dual gump. Didn't know about the lack of kit, and, well, he will punish it regardless. Mindfreak taken away with one alive.
Yeah, a little bit more expensive than they might have liked it to have been, but one too many members for Vantage to deal with, and that's exactly where you'd want to be if you're Mindfreak. Having lost the pistol, went down 0-2, bring it back to 2-2 here. It's their turn to now start controlling this game. Money essentially broken for Vantage. 1900 loss bonus. And a match pause, so this could be one of the nights of all time, actually, here in ESL Challenger League Oceania.
Jordan, there is an ancient bathhouse here on this map, right? And Anubis on the A side. What do you feel about bathhouses, right? Just in general, what are your feelings on them?
Bathhouses?
Yeah, like
I don't think I've ever been to one.
Because I've seen a lot of them in like sort of museums and stuff, or maybe not museums. I'm not sure what you'd call them, but like, renditions of ancient buildings and everything, right, that you can go into. And I've always been curious, like, it does sound kind of like a good time with the boys, but also it does sound kind of like, isn't that kind of icky and gross that everyone's bathing together?
Yeah, it's a bit of column A, bit of column B. I think you have to be really comfortable with your friendship or camaraderie.
For example, just thinking about cholera.
We shared a room once,
That's
you
true.
and I, in Mongolia. But I don't know if
we had a great
go to a
bathhouse
bathhouse with you.
well. Yeah, we just had to make do with the tub.
The thing is, our entire hotel room was the tub because the bath didn't. Well, the shower didn't really drain very well. So it was not by choice. Let's just say.
Oh god, that was funny. And the solution for context that the hotel had was that they just put a strip of wood down to make it so the flood shouldn't get out. But the unfortunate reality is that, as with any other dam, water still comes over the wall, especially if it's only half an inch high. But maybe we can go back to bathhouses later on. Hopefully we don't need to. Vantage will be looking to maybe stop getting their hands so dirty. USBs, and they can let go of them real fast.
Yep, that's true. Mindfreak, a little bit more of a reserved approach this time around. Typically, they have wanted to try to push their way into water a little bit earlier, but Vantage, it does look like they're trying to play this sort of forward smoke there towards the T stairs that you don't see every day. Nice try. Maybe not a nice try. Either way, it hasn't worked out. It was never really going to work out, let's be real. Crunchy here. Going to get 2 for free. 3 for free. And that's the round done and dusted. USP's just no goods.
The agony. Jordan.
Yep.
Oh. I'm sorry, I tried to.
It happens.
It does happen.
Happens.
Sometimes you just have one of those rounds, right? There's been a lot of tech time outs. You're not at your own setup. Probably got sweaty palms. But things should be getting sweaty over here regardless. Vantage once again without any kits, and we're going to be seeing whether they want to start things off with any aggression early on. Again, it will be a fast peek from Super back out towards B main. That might call for rotations overhead as well. An aid that is eaten by Crunchy. And as Drox and company will start to move back, it's Mindfreak to make a move into middle. Swerzian trying to play around the smoke, the man to watch, but will he give us anything to watch out for? Absolutely not. Texter on the other side takes him down. And that starts off with a very nice lead for Mindfreak.
Yeah, once again, Mindfreak looking to dictate these T-side rounds, which is exactly what you want to be doing on Anubis. Drox and Super recontesting into E-Box. Only end up going 1-for-1. It's not enough in a circumstance such as this. However, full rotation has come across from Vantage, so they can defend this site. Super, Jinx, one apiece, and all of a sudden it starts to fall apart a little bit for Mindfreak. That is a very nice gamble play from the CT side, bringing all of their members across, and Mindfreak just fold on that B entry.
I mean, great stuff from Super in general, right? Going for that incredibly aggressive B main peak. I don't even think he had a flashbang, or maybe just the one. Getting full information, nade out towards Crunch as well, and forcing Mindfreak to contend with the idea that they will not have B main uncontested, then rotates back in. They double swing into Dark as well. That goes less well for them, but I like the decision overall, regardless of the result. Pain.
Well, right back into the swing of things. Mindfreak do have that buy, and as you were about to mention, I'm sure their Pain has got the orb. And I've been telling you some nice things about Pain with the orb, so hopefully I'll be proven correct.
I was just saying Pain because of what I felt.
You're just saying Pain?
Yeah.
You've been playing too much paddleball or paddle or whatever they call it. Hurt your knees,
goodness,
old man tea time. That is Pain, but good trade.
Yeah. How do you know I hurt my knees?
Because we're aging at a similar rate, actually.
It's actually insane how fast I get injured, Jordan. It's really sad.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, God.
And I've seen you run, so, you know, I can put two and two together and think, that's not a man that's going to have good knees.
Well, I have got some needs for good Counter-Strike, and hopefully we're about to have that fulfilled up here in this round. It is going to be a collapse onto B that is being planned out, not much utility, so you're watching out for that Drox flashbang to be doing a lot. There is a Molotov, but it's in the hands of Pain, and he doesn't want to be in position to deploy it. Head gone, Super out, and Drox will get the flashbang, but it's a slow-labored kill. Will move back into his opponent's smokes to find solace and safety, but it will not be a bomb site that they are able to defend. It will have to be a bomb site to reclaim, and with Pain finding another frag, difficulties will be found in that.
Yeah, very back and forth game at the moment, which honestly, look, you would typically not want to take that as a CT side, just purely from the economic situation being a little worse on the CT side. You don't really want to be trading 1-for-1 and such, but when you're on the CT side of Anubis, which I believe at the moment is the most T-sided map in the pool, I think you actually say, look, if we can get 1 out of every 2 rounds, you know, whether our economy is cooked or not at the end of that, if we're here at 3-4 or 4-3, we're not actually in such a bad spot. So Mindfreak are, I would say, just holding on to maybe the par score at this point in time, but there's definitely enough to be said here to kind of keep things interesting for Vantage at the moment, even though the money's really bad, they're down on rounds. It's obviously just the fact that the map is so biased towards the T side at the moment, still weighing in the back of my mind.
I think the only thing that is sort of where I would draw away from that is we aren't going to get the Mingovi op if things continue on like this, right? And that is something to look forward to. That is something that, you know, they do base a lot of their CT side around. So I'm a little bit disappointed about that, but hopefully, you know, if he gets a couple of kills over here, if anything like that transpires, I don't know. I'm asking for a lot, but let's see whether they can deliver. Jinx will be peeking through. They don't have flashes with that. It's going to be delayed. Jinx might want to re-peek, and now come the flashes. Jinx is already gone. I mean, that is interesting timing from Mingovia. I will not lie to you. The fact that they're double swinging out into B main, they really must be reading that it's only one player, or at least hoping for that.
Yeah, look, at this point, I guess, you don't have a lot to work with as Vantage in that round, so you are just trying to do something a little bit unorthodox. See what you can get done if you can maybe catch a nice timing, something to that effect. Didn't happen, as we saw. So 5-3 the lead for Mindfreak as they progress nicely through this T side, but now we're kind of getting into that swing round territory where this half can go one of two ways. It can continue on the current trajectory. Mindfreak continue to win rounds on the T side, end up posting a pretty solid first half score, something like a 7-5 or an 8-4, dare I say even a 9-3, but more likely, leaning towards one of the two former. Or Vantage can pick this round up and we continue that sort of back and forth shenanigans for another, 2-3 rounds potentially.
Super.
Until that economy breaks.
Huh? Knife out, Bull rushes forward. Crunchy was there to receive this time, but he doesn't get the kill. So information gained by Super, even if it might not be much. The problem is, Pain doesn't gain info, Pain gains kills.
Yeah, that typically tends to be the way that he plays. This time, Crunchy gonna get info, but no kills. So we are back to the 4-on-4, but Trox is a little bit isolated outside of B main here, and Texter, well, he's not going to be the kind of player that will shy away from a fight. I don't know how much Texter you've been able to watch, how much Texter you've been exposed to, but I think he's a really, really fun player to watch. One of the sort of standout riflers of maybe the pre-COVID era of Australian Counter-Strike, but unfortunately, he had a VAC ban, so he never ended up in one of the top teams, similar to Tux. I think you could have very easily seen a world in some way, shape, or form where Texter and Tux may have ended up being a core player in something like a Greyhound of, the same caliber as someone like maybe an Inns, an Alistar, or a Hats, a Malta, like these kinds of names. They were all around the same time as Tux and Texter were performing very, very well domestically, but just didn't get that same opportunity internationally. So it's kind of cool to see them back. We'll see what they can do on this 3-on-3 post plant.
Tux is waiting for the push forward. It'll be a double swing out towards him, but before that, Pain's already covered off the one. Trade comes in. Pain is just dominating them right now. I don't know why Mengovi's pushed all the way up into practically the A road and T. I don't even know what that place is called because that's how rarely we have duels over there. But like sort of the A road in T spawn leaves A side completely open with no one in middle either. Normally you see players just holding on to A main at the very least, putting themselves in position to contest a pillar post spawn, which is obviously what Pain ends up getting. So Mindfreak are now up to 6-3, and Vantage, while they might have been content with 4 or 5 rounds, it looks like it's becoming increasingly unlikely that they'll be able to truly fight for that.
Yeah, I agree. Vantage being a little bit manhandled at the moment. But I'm still not prepared to write them off just yet.
You're optimistic,
5-7s.
Jordan. That's why I love you.
No, I don't think it's optimism. I think it's the opposite. I think it's I've been jaded by a little bit too much ANZ Counter-Strike in my time. I would say never, right? It's just one of those regions, particularly at a level like this, that there can be some serious inconsistencies, even just from half to half. I think Mindfreak typically are a little better about that than most teams. Like when they're on, they do typically sort of put games away. But Vantage, I think in particular, definitely are one of those teams where they can really go missing for a half and then just show up in the next. So I'm not prepared to write this one off just yet, especially as well considering, we're looking at a round which has a couple of Deagles, a couple of 5-7s, definitely some damage can be done, as we're seeing onto Tux and Gum. So not impossible for Vantage to get something out of this, but Mindfreak negotiating it nicely. Haven't lost a player just yet. Have now taken the A-bomb side as well, quite methodically. Lots of util getting tossed over there. The smoke's obviously covering Cams and Heaven. A flash in through the window, gets Mindfreak in onto the site without too much stress. And that'll be, you would think, another round here for Mindfreak with Crunchy doing the cleanup duty in the middle.
I'm just looking forward to the off from Mongovi now coming up. We've seen so much performance from Pain. And Jordan, I will give you your plaudits. You're a wise man. Do you want to ask me why? Or will you be egotistical and just accept it?
No, I'll say why. What I want to know.
Because Swerzian started off 6-0-0 and now he's 7-8. And you told me, hey, chill out, T-Time. And I didn't. I really didn't. Now I'm being forced to.
Yep. On the other hand, I did sort of say Pain typically pretty good, has been pretty good. Texter typically pretty good, has been pretty good. Actually, I think the most interesting part of this Mindfreak roster for me at the moment is actually Crunchy, because he is the newest member into this team. Ricky having been replaced and Crunchy coming in. I don't think Crunchy would have been one of the first names on people's lips necessarily. He's been sort of in and out of the ANZ scene for a little while, but has done really well for himself. Good numbers coming up here. I thought he was respectable at ESL Pro League as well, which might have actually been his biggest event in Counter-Strike thus far.
What the hell is that smoke supposed to be doing?
Maybe it just missed the door.
Feels like it might have. Swerzian's going to be missing the smoke, though. He doesn't realize how uncovered he is, why this texture can move in if there's a flashbang with it. But no, the grenade, and he's been isolated. It's not a miss at all, Jordan. It is a play. And Swerzian's the one to make it. Now watch out for Drox, as he will be the only player on this B-bomb site. Bane, Molotov out towards the back of Ninja, but there's opening there. Mangovi's been able to get us first for the AWP, and they continue to contest, but the bomb is still planted. It's a team kill. It is disaster.
Oh, no.
Swerzian, an absolute antithesis of his start, but now he has to deliver. Back into the bomb site he goes, spamming away. Jinx providing cover fire while Tux is taken down, and Swerzian hippity hopping out, but Payne is now covering. The AK will find him. Swerzian taken down. Jinx in a 1-on-2, and although there's a flashbang straight into Dark, the time being bought is all enough. Jinx cannot get onto the bomb in time. He knows it as well. Moves away from it. Crunchy's found. He's got it somehow. Crunchy reveals himself through the smoke. It'll be down to the wire, and he gets it done. Saves the AWP as well.
Yeah, I was watching that round and I'm thinking we're going to 9-3. But not the case. A battle for 8-4 is on the cards for Mindfreak here, but Vantage, they'll be looking for a little bit more. If they could get the 5th here, it would be a massive salvage at the end of the half. It's been quite a tough half for them. They've been kind of getting battered a little bit, but if you walk away from this half with 5 rounds on the CT side, I don't think you're mad at all as Vantage. And they have a very real opportunity of doing that. Decent enough by through, even though they only had the 1 gun remaining at the end of the last round. So it's all to play for in this final round of the half. Mindfreak going to be kicking themselves a little bit for not converting that round. That looked very winnable, but Texter, as he often does, has taken matters into his own hands early in the round. Entry fragging for Mindfreak.
Oh. There's so much juice being squeezed out from everybody over here, Jordan. Won't always be pretty. Drox's position is good, but it's not good enough. He misses his first few shots, and Tux will take him apart. Now this A-bomb site comes under risk of attack once again, but Tex does not clear the angle. Super finds him.
Now it's Gump's turn to have a little bit of a look-see. He should be getting some assistance from his teammates. There's going to be the flash toss in by Payne, which will allow Gump to go forward. Nobody here on the site itself. Has allowed nice entry for Mindfreak. And I think a retake here is pretty wishful thinking for Vantage.
Well, they're going to make a wish regardless, I suppose, Jordan.
Gonna have to.
That's the thing about Make-A-Wishes. Sometimes they end up dead afterwards. Mingovi is displaying us that very fact. 4-8, we're off to a halftime break. We'll be back after just a bit.
And find that I left my distractions behind. In the meantime, I'll blindfold my pride and keep hold of my time like it's gold. Same color, reaching to find when I wonder how I said we're all fine. Why sit around and waste the time? I pack my suitcase, headed out the door. I keep my shoes laced. 2,000 miles away from home. A couple dollars in my pocket, never stopped the boy before. I load my bags and hit the road. Miles past, turning back, found my track, face the fact, she a cold one. Never gonna settle for none. Stay up every night till I won. Don't want a slow rise now. I'm confident opulence isn't a long ride out. When I look back now, I'm astounded. A quiet boy from old age, but always felt the world was a stage, yeah. I celebrate one last day night. My old life ain't staying. I pack my suitcase, headed out the door. I keep my shoes laced. 2,000 miles away from home. A couple dollars in my pocket, never stopped the boy before. I load my bags and hit the road. I'm headed to LA.
Miles, throw it on the dash. Shit, 10,000 hours, can't let them pass. Yeah, well, I was putting time in, you was pulled up wildin'. You always had shit to say, now when I see you, it's silence. Thought I have a Grammy by 25. Commas after commas next to dollar sign, yeah. To remind myself why I'm living this life.
A pistol loss does not stop Mindfreak from putting themselves in an excellent position in that first half, 8-4, and now they hope to turn their tides with a pistol win. It's going to be straight down the middle with Texter opening up, Jinx to trade, Crunchy to keep an eye out for. 16 kills so far, and he would love to make it 20 over here. With 4 players running out at him, it feels unlikely, but you know what? Why not dream? And why not be on A? That's what Vantage says.
It's a great mid-round call there from Vantage to go back over to A. I think initially, just based on the way that they were moving, they were kind of intending to go towards B, but recognizing that that was where the stack was, they saw 2 players in towards Cave, and they decided they don't want to bar of it. Pre-plan on A. Already a great start to the pistol, and it looks like it might be converted again for Vantage. Mindfreak will be pistol-less unless it's paying to do some damage here, and he has got himself a nice headshot there onto Mingobi. With some time left to play, we'll get that reload off. 16 bullets remaining. Gonna need to get onto the defuse pretty shortly. But you're right, he's got a kit available, so that is going to help out. And Drox is also low, so a big 1-2 punch right here would have been enough. Hasn't got that headshot onto Super. He's going to stick the defuse here and hope there's no swing. Of course, there will be. And Super finishes it off. It is another pistol round for Vantage.
Great job from Super over there. Honestly, I thought he might end up overextending a little bit too much and giving his own life up as well. But, you know, waits it out, recognizes he's got all the time in the world. And yeah, Vantage have been popping pistols like pimples. It's fun, but it doesn't always end well.
No. You end up getting a scar of some sort.
Everyone says that, but I've never actually gotten a scar from popping a pimple.
Yeah, neither have I, honestly. But
Yeah.
that's what I say it too.
Yeah.
You know, I want to be down. Cool.
Well, it's not too cool out for Gump. He's got fire in front of him, and he's firing away as well. Tux steals his kill. God damn it, Tux. But there is an Mac-10 and a Galil in middle to be recovered. There are reasons to save over here for Mindfreak. I don't know whether they will subscribe to them or not.
Looks like they're going to stick around and just see if they can do a bit of damage. That hasn't really worked out for them. Payne at least will be able to take that one Galil through.
It'll be
Too
useful.
shabby.
Crunchy's on $1,300, right? So Tex has on $1,600 too. You're not going to have the most money going into the next round. The good thing is, because of all the kills that Payne got in the pistol and this one, you are going to have an AWP very early, and Vantage might not expect that.
Oh,
Would you buy that
possibility?
rug?
Right there in my face? Probably.
Yeah.
I think it's actually not too bad.
It's pretty nice, isn't it?
I'm actually kind of a fan of that style of rug. I don't know what that's recall.
I think these are like Persian rugs.
Persian
if I'm
rugs,
not
yeah.
mistaken,
Yeah, I was going to say Egyptian, but that sounds better.
Well, it is in
yeah,
Egypt,
because-
I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Grandma used to have them in her house
Really?
all over the place. She's German. So no real to anything to do with Persia or Egypt. I think she just liked them. And therefore, I spent a lot of my childhood around those kinds of rugs. So
All right.
I might get one day.
Okay. I'll bring you one next time we meet.
Yeah. Last time you got me,
Well, I like you more now, Jordan.
I think a bit more frankly.
I think the rug might be harder to carry in a
To be
suitcase.
fair, by the way, I never told you this. While we have a slow start to this round, maybe not. I actually got in trouble at the airport one time for that pen because it's like, if you remember, it's like a tip pen, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's fancy, and they were like looking at it, and they're like, they were really sus on that one pen in particular. They maybe like take it out. And I'm like, and they're like, what is this? I'm like, it's a pen. Like, if you want it, you can keep it. Like, pen. It's got sentimental value to me. It was the first time I ever met Tea Time, but they don't give a shit about that. So, anyway, I got to keep the pen, but they were real sus on it. And do you have any knives in your bag? I'm like, no. No.
Only in my Steam account, baby.
Yeah, well, just one actually. But yeah,
Well-
it was an interesting. Only once ever happened, but I've still got it.
It's also interesting that we're going to have a late round finish over here without any flashbangs. Texter and Gump will come out on top because of it. Gump could use a flashbang of his own, but he won't be having one. Tux can rotate over to try and cover his cross, though. And there's no Molotov, so Gump just gets a straight 1-for-1. Bringing up to 2 overall. Vantage, unfortunately, waiting too long to use those bits and bobs, and now they've been bought out of this round, perhaps. Mingovi, bomb being tapped, will not be taken down. Crunchy's incendiary would have dissuaded him regardless, but it is the 9th round now out for Mindfreak.
Yeah, very nice round as well. It's super nice to get that first gun round on the CT side here as Mindfreak, right? You lost both the pistols. That's not a great feeling. You have this big advantage going into the second half, but you can see it just very quickly flashing away before your eyes, disappearing if you don't get that gun round. But the fact that they do get that gun round, it maintains their pretty significant amount of control over this game at the moment. Vantage are down to this sort of, say, half by force by type situation. And Mindfreak, with the opportunity to really put themselves in that position to close this map out.
Oh. Half by Executor on the B-bomb side is a classic. But Payne's on the other side, and he's been hitting some pretty classic shots so far. Flashed away and flashed off completely. Still, just for the head. Looks for more around the corner of that pillar. It is Shocks to be found, and not a single kill for Vantage. We'll be connecting 10 now on the board for Mindfreak. This could be over.
It could be indeed. Is in all sorts for Vantage moments, so they're going to have to take a save.
Listen, Jordan, you know what? While we have an anti-eco, I will add, it is so funny to me that you become just 0.01% more Pakistani and you start getting into trouble at airports immediately.
Yeah. One pen from Pakistan, and they're like, you're on a list. You're on a list. It's the sparkly green pen. It's like those.
You feel like you'd be on the very good at Anubis because of how T-sided it is.
No, don't say that. Vantage, by the way, speaking of T-sided, have picked themselves up a couple of deagles right here and done a bit of work. Crunchy and Texter not allowed to play this round, and actually this really starts to look problematic for Mindfreak. And that is not going to help Payne on the push. Oh, Jinx gets the double. What are these deagles from Vantage? This round has just come out of nowhere. And just as it looked like Mindfreak should win the map, all of a sudden, we're right back to square one. As Vantage pull their way back into it, they are going to have to get through another buy right here. But if Vantage can get through this buy, Mindfreak are completely broke.
I don't know what to say about that round. That's just shooty bang bang right there.
Yep.
And it's really good looking shooty bang. And now listen, Mindfreak, they will at least have a chance to have a fair fight back, but it's with Payne not having Kevlar, with Payne not having utility, and Payne being left alone on this A side. Gets aggressive regardless. He's going in. He will be traded. He's got an aggro without Kevlar. He's absolutely a madman. Go pulls out utility as well. He refaces, gets two. Somehow this is going the way of Mindfreak. But it still is Swerzian alive, and the man who started with a 600 would really like to make this a 12-14. Not quite very impressive, but the score up top is what matters the most. Never forget.
Yeah, this is a good response from Mindfreak for sure.
He's abandoned the bomb to go for a flank out in the back. This could work for him, especially if Crunchy gets eyes on the bomb. That could be really good. Crunchy's not pushing though, and Tux is going to be the one to look for information. Should he find himself inside camera, that would be some sliver of safety, but he is not considering the flank at all. Now he does, turns around, but it's not the right timing to rejiggle and rethink. Crunchy starts to go back out towards mid, worried about a B-side hit, but then I think he might have been given the call that the bomb wasn't there, but they're still confused. Haven't registered it. Incendiary out, and now Crunchy will be committing as well. It takes time to pick up that bomb, and Swervian's been making noise. Smoke down as well. Crunchy knows to start pushing forward. That smoke could be used as a lurk smoke to get up to pillar by Crunchy as well if he's feeling particularly brave, but now the timing's been missed, but maybe not. Already at pillar, Swervian looks away, and that's Crunchy to shut it down.
Yeah, that's really painful for Vantage. You know, Swerzian did pretty much everything right in that round. Got it down to the 1v1, but just not able to win it. Really, really nice timing onto Tux, of course, and a nice choice to go for that big flank, that big wrap. But sometimes that's the way the cookie crumbles, and for Vantage, they're going to need to pull off another miracle here. Maybe not quite in the same vein as the previous with the Deagles, because they have at least got a few AKs to play with, but they are running out of time, and you know, Mindfreak are not looking threatened enough on this CT side to make me think that they're not going to be able to close this map out.
I love this position from Pain. Obviously, we saw Vantage going for a couple of aggressive canals hits themselves as well. This is very different. This is hoping to use that deep A stairs smoke to just try and find the single, duel, and back off. Not relying on it to get map control, just relying on it to get an advantage. Tux, in the meanwhile, keeps jiggling out over towards B main and making sure that there isn't a commitment coming in through there. So it's a very nicely put together CT side start. Pain's also rotated back over to the A side. That is where the action looks to transpire.
Yeah, not a huge amount of information on offer for Mindfreak. The only bit of information really being Crunchy having a look in E-box. So that's why they're going to have a bit of a peek here at A main. Gump, the points man with the MP9, is going to come swinging back across as Texter picks up a kill over on A main, and Swerzian will go down to that MP9. Pain playing the swivel pivot role and making it look quite easy in the end as Mindfreak as they get their way up to 12. Vantage are, I think, doomed on this map.
That actually was a pretty decently thought out timing to go for the A side hit for Vantage, right? You saw Gump being forced to rotate back because Pain was being put under pressure from camera. But the problem is that the double swing never came onto Text. I mean, Govi had the bomb and he starts to rethink. And this is the issue with having the bomb on a side with only two players, right? Because you started off in a 4 versus 5. I mean, Govi just doesn't swing to trade Text. I mean, Govi just doesn't swing to commit and try and actually get a fight into A main. And with that, by the time it becomes a relevant double peak on any of these angles, you've just lost all the 1v1s in the world.
Well, we'll see if the Tech9s can get the work done that the Deagles were able to do earlier on in the piece. It'll presumably be a little bit of a faster approach this time from Vantage. Already managed to get a couple of players up canal. Tux will be safe from that molly. The smoke still yet to dissipate, but holding a nade in hand is a real big problem. It leaves it on to Texter and Crunchy, who do a wonderful job on the initial hold. And that is about as clean as you could hope from Mindfreak. Just Mingovi left alive. This should be 13-7. Mingovi to try to save the day, but it feels too much, and it is. That is the end of the map, and Mindfreak will take the lead in this series.
Very nicely done from Mindfreak overall. The fact that you're losing out both pistols and conversions and you're still able to get the lead, that's very, very good. And let's not forget, one of the other big rounds was actually found was Jinx's 4K with starting off with 3 on